3-1 looks a comfortable scoreline. Does that tell the whole story, though?
Yeah, it was a really good game. After Champions League, as always, is a tricky game against a team that is fighting, you know, in a difficult position for them, but the quality is there. We start really well, incredible focus, and at the end, when you make a lot of substitutions, always, not for the guys who came in, when you make a lot of substitutions at the same time, always you drop a little bit, but yeah, 3 points and thinking next one.
Is that the gamble you have to take, though? Because you said to us before the game, I don't like to make lots of changes, 5s and 6s, because it can unsettle the team. And that happened in the game today.
No, it's completely different, because when the guys get in the second half, start in the beginning, will be the same approach that we had in the beginning, so it's completely different. But just for the fact that, of course, I have a little bit experience to play every 3 days in important stages of it, and then to make a lot of rotation substitutions, and there are dynamics that in some players we have and some players we don't, and that's why I make just 2 in the beginning, and after, when the game was under control, we make the rest.
Just check, they were all tactical, those substitutions, no injuries or anything?
Yeah, definitely.
The football that got you up at 3-0, how good were you today? And also Kevin De Bruyne, that's 100 assists for Manchester City. What sort of achievement is that?
No, it's a lot. We spoke last game against Southampton that he achieved this 100 assists, so it's a lot in a short period. So it's incredible.
Were you concerned once Leicester City got themselves back into the game? Were you starting to worry at all, or do you still feel in control?
No, of course we were worried. So we threw one with our mistake, and the second we had the chance with Madison, and after with Kelechi. So the game was tricky in the last 10-15 minutes. But if you make it the global game was especially the first 55-60 minutes was good.
But do you have to have these uncomfortable moments in some ways? Because as you said, you're competing in 3 competitions. You've got to look after the players.
I had to avoid it. I always have to push ourselves and better and avoid what happened after 3-0. We cannot suffer, always suffer. But it happened for a lot of institutions. Normally, with my experience, when you do that, it's happened.
What's the most important thing today, though? That you keep the pressure up on Arsenal?
Absolutely. 3 points of pressure to us.
I'll let you go.
Thank you.
Most important thing. So, as I say, they both have 8 left to play. But that isn't just the story for Manchester City either, because, of course, he mentioned the trip to Munich in the week, the FA Cup semi-finals. They played twice before that Arsenal game in 11 days' time. And Arsenal played twice in the league, which could be significant as well. And then you look at Arsenal, Chelsea, Newcastle, and then Brighton, Forest, Wolves to finish. What are you thinking when you look at that list? And City still have 1 Premier League game still to arrange, by the way, at Brighton.
Yeah, you would say, like, for Arsenal, they might have a little bit of a tougher run, personally, but I think with the fact that they're only playing for the Premier League, I think it gives them more time to rest and recover. I think with City, it becomes harder because of the extra games they got in there and the size and the magnitude of them both.
Do you not think, though, if you're only prepping for 1 game a week, that could also make you a bit more anxious? Whereas with City, you have not got time to think. You've got to go.
They're just winning, aren't they?
Yeah, like you ain't.
I kind of agree with you, because
your legs would be wobbling, no?
I think if City win the league, they win the Champions League as well. I think they're complementing.
All or nothing, is it?
Yeah, I think they're complementing each other. I think them coming away from Bayern Munich, winning like that, then they're going in to play Leicester. The confidence is there, and like Karen said, because by the time they come back, they do a warm down. They might train one day. The training day is like, then you're back into a game again. So it's all mainly rest and recover, and just straighten you, like Karen said, you don't actually get time to think.
And talking of recovery, all eyes on Arsenal now, tomorrow, to see, after Anfield and after today, what they can come up with.
And that's what I was referring to. They've had to sit maybe today and watch that. I think, like everyone, we expected City to win, but I just think that 1 game a week, when you know you've got that preparation time, it's getting a little bit anxious. I think that might be the challenge for Arsenal. It's just too much preparation time, too much thinking.
Fascinating. That began with Newcastle, who'd won 5 in a row, thumped at Villa who've now themselves recorded 5 successive victories for the first time, incidentally, in 25 years. 3 points and 3 goals for Unai Emery's side. Brighton winning at Stamford Bridge for the first time in their history. 3 games for Frank Lampard, 3 defeats back at Chelsea for Frank Lampard. Everton beaten for just the second time at home under Sean Dyche, 3-1 by Fulham. The bottom club Southampton losing for the 20th time this season. 3 out of 3 back at Palace for Roy Hodgson. What a dramatic game at Spurs. They got back to 2-2 in stoppage time, but Bournemouth with a late winner. They've won away at Tottenham for the first time in their history. Wolves have got another win at home. Brentford have lost 3 in a row for the first time this season. They were beaten by 2-0. We've just brought you City beating Leicester 3-1. 2 enormous games on Sunday as well. It's over to Arsenal now. How will they respond both to the drop points at Anfield and to City winning? They're away at West Ham, and Manchester United, with that defensive injury crisis as well, go to Nottingham Forest. The Premier League weekend complete. Leeds fighting for their lives welcome Liverpool in the Monday Night Football to Ellen Road. And Leeds will be keeping an eye on West Ham and Forest tomorrow as well. Leicester stay second from bottom. Southampton are still 4 points from safety. Forest have the opportunity to nudge their way out of the drop zone tomorrow against Manchester United. Everton remain 4th bottom, Leeds 5th bottom. The big climbers, Bournemouth up to 14. They are 6 clear of relegation. Wolves now 7, and look at Crystal Palace. 9 points in the blink of an eye under Roy Hodgson, and they are 9 points clear of the drop zone. The all-important number at the top, though, is 3. That is all Arsenal's lead is. They have a chance to make it 6 tomorrow, but of course from now they've both got 8 games to play. Newcastle and Manchester United locked on 56 points. Newcastle were delighted that Spurs missed the opportunity to go level with themselves and Eric Ten Hag's side with that defeat late on at home to Bournemouth. And Villa dreaming of Europe for the first time since 2009. They're in 6th place, 31 played, 50 points. Scored 37 goals and conceded only 4. Are you getting the feeling at this stage of the season that your former club are doing traditionally what they do in this run-in?
Yeah, I think the proof's in all the results, and especially in the way they've been playing as a team. I think although they put these runs together, I think watching City play these last 10 games that we've watched in all competitions, I just think they've been at their best form that we've seen over the course of the season, and it's coming at the right time at the business end of the season where these results matter and they count.
Why was you so nervous at the start of the show?
Didn't you see the result? It was nearly 3-2. So
he's a glass always half empty, man, Karen. You'll have to learn that about Sean.
Yeah, but yeah, I think they're doing it all at the right time. I think it needs to happen. They need to go on now, and I think when Arsenal do slip, if they do slip again, they need to be there ready to pounce on them, and the way they're playing, that they're in the right frame of mind to do that.
Let me give you some numbers, Karen. Under Pep Guardiola in the last 6 seasons, in their last 10 games, an accumulation of 145 Premier League points, which is more than any other team in that period. Mentality monsters in this home straight.
Yeah, but they know the formula. They always kind of start off quite slow and then peak at the right time. And even with the World Cup, which has kind of adjusted the season, they've just still found that formula. There's still 8 games to go. But you're right, historically, they've always done it and nailed it. And you look at the Bayern Munich game and the football in the first half today and the last couple of weeks, like Sean mentioned, some of the best football I've seen in a long time, actually. The only difference with Arsenal is I think they play us. Sometimes I see their intensity a little bit higher than City's. City's is more controlled. So I'm interested to see how that goes. But, you know, we're going to see 2 teams go at it in a couple of weeks' time, and we're looking forward to it. But I think the way City are historically, the form they're in, I can't see anything changing really for City to win it.
They are starting games really quickly at the moment in every competition. Today was no different. What a goal from well, I was about to say central defender, but he's got a new role. But you don't expect John Stones to do this. That's the point I'm making.
No, not. You expect him to score goals, but I would say with his head. But the way he catches his volley, his technical ability was superb. Leicester's got to get rid of that. Me and Karen spoke about that, obviously off air and on air. But once it does drop to him, he can put it in the only place that it goes, and he puts it straight in the top corner.
Yeah, I couldn't agree anymore. I mean, look at that angle. It's just perfectly hit, isn't it? Puts his foot through, concentration, keeper's got no chance. Like we mentioned, defending from Leicester, you practice all week, defend the shape, defend how tactically they play. And look, it's come from a set piece when you should be winning first balls and second balls. And John Terry's there at the side, probably with his hands in his head thinking that's the simple things of football that you can sort out from a Leicester's perspective. But brilliant goal from Stones.
And they got a helping hand, so to speak, from Wilfred and Didi, didn't they?
Yeah, it was definitely a helping hand. I was happy about it. It took a bit of pressure off. But I think Jack could have had a penalty before this as well. But I don't know what Ndidi's thinking with his hand where it is so high. He's better off just trusting the players behind him. But penalty gets given after the ref obviously goes to the monitor. And the one man that you want to step up and take it does. And it was a great finish, don't you think, Karen?
It was unbelievable. Like you said, when he steps up, there's just never any doubt, is there? Just look at the aura, just look at the stance, and bang, just steps up right in the corner. I slightly think he scuffs it a little bit, but even with that, look, that contact there, I don't think he hits it clean, but it's right in the corner, exactly where you want it. So nevertheless, it's gone in, but wow, what a player, eh?
Yep, 7 out of 7 from the spot in a Manchester City shirt for Erling Haaland. And, of course, he then went on to get his 47th goal in all competitions in just his 40th Manchester City game.
This is just City pressing, causing Leicester to make a mistake. And then Kevin's obviously driving. But the first touch from Haaland, just to take him past the defence was superb. I think that makes the goal. Also causes the keeper to have to make a decision whether he's going to come or stay. And he comes and it gives Haaland the edge for me. He's then got to lift it over. And at the same time, I feel like Leicester defenders, 2 of them are running back, the other one stops, which leaves the gap where you know Haaland wants to go. You know that's where he wants to run into. But the finish is exquisite for me.
And look, that touch there, Sean, just to take it away from all the defenders, but to do it while he's still running at speed and it doesn't adjust his stride. Is why he's so good, because that's so difficult, you know, all the action. He's just phenomenal, and like Sean said, the finish, just to dink it over the top, the confidence. There's just such an aura about him.
And these numbers are scale, 32 goals. Of course, he hasn't completed a 38-game season yet, but Mo Salah's record is going to be beaten with 1 more goal. 34 for Messrs Cole and Shearer in a 42-game season. And as I say, he's now got 47 in all competitions. I mean, where's this going to end?
Nowhere, hopefully.
I mean, what kind of figure are we looking at here?
I think he's going to get... The thing is, I think he's going to get better with it. I feel like he will score more goals. And I think if you listen to some of the interviews he does, some of the ones where he says he'd be happy to touch the ball 5 times and score 5 goals, and some of the ones where he's missed chances and he'll come off angry at himself and say, no, I should have had more goals than that. I think with that hunger and desire and that passion to get in a box and try and make things happen, and the people behind him like Kevin De Bruyne, Grealish and Mahrez and Foden and Bernardo, when they're giving a player like that chances, for me, it can only get better.
I think as well, I was just trying to think off the top of my head how many players that join Manchester City hit the ground running in their first season. Usually takes 2 or 3 seasons. I mean, even look at today's team, Jack Grealish, it took him a year to embed into the team. But with Haaland, he goes in, and you're right. I think Sean's spot on. He's only going to get better and better, because I still don't think City have sometimes played it to him quick enough or played it over the top a few times. And he's obviously, like Sean said, missed a couple of chances that he's disappointed in. So, it's rare that someone hits the ground running under a Pep Guardiola team and the tactical information that he gives to a player. And he has, and he's just going to get better and better. The more he's embedded into this team after 2 or 3 seasons...
Well, that's a scary thought.
That's scary, isn't it?
Yeah, more records. Well, he's going to be ending up breaking his own records, really, isn't he? Because he's breaking records that were put there already in his first year. So who else is there going to beat?
As you say, Leicester they won the second half, as you rightly say, which could have been a lot worse given the situation after 45 minutes. Iheanacho came on against his former club. He got the goal, and they might have made it even more interesting.
Yeah, I thought Iheanacho come on. I know that was a tap-in, and we're looking, he's around the goalkeeper. Maybe the defender should have been around him. Phillips is on the line. He's playing him on side. I know he's near post space, but he actually gets in the way of the goalkeeper, and then Iheanacho just taps it in there. They'll be disappointed from Manchester City to give that one away, but I actually thought when he came on, he made a bit more of a difference. As Sean said, Leicester pressed a little bit more in the second half and easily could have had 2 more goals in the second half. And I'm sure Dean Smith, that'll be something he'll go in at the end and go, there were positives from the second half performance.
Yeah, those pre-match nerves were just jingling a little bit towards the end. James Maddison had the first chance.
Yeah, I thought Maddison was by a light year their best player, and football intelligence IQ was way above it. But this, for me, you expect him to go across the face. He chooses the near post, and Edison, for me, makes a fantastic save for a keeper that hasn't had much to do in the game. So his concentration levels always had to be high. But that was just Ruben Diaz, just a little bit sloppy there, playing that square ball, and Maddison read him.
And the woodwork was struck as well, Karen?
Yeah, it was, again, like we said in the outro. They were a lot further forward. You know, you want Maddison higher up playing these balls. It's a great ball. It just gets this here now, just the vision. Just puts it into that space. Manchester City all over the shop with the changes. Just everything right, gets a connection with it, but it's the wrong side of the post, and I'm not sure whether Edison gets a little fingertip to it, but there were chances there, and I think I'm a little bit disappointed that it took them that long to have a go, to press, because realistically, if we'd asked all 3 of us who was going to win at the start of the game, we would have said Manchester City. So could they have been a bit braver and pressed a little bit more and had a go and maybe tried? Because they went to a back 5 and it still didn't work. The second half, we saw a lot more positives from it.
Well, let's see what the new Leicester manager thought of it all, particularly that second half. Here he is, Dean Smith.
Did your first Leicester game finish on a real note of positivity?
It did. I thought our second half performance was better. You know, I thought there was a bit of us being a bit more committed and a little bit of them putting the brakes on as well. But I was pleased with it, and I thought we created some big chances and big moments in the second half.
Did you fear the worst when it went to 3-0 for half-time?
Yeah, you do. You know, you give them a lead 2-0 after 10 minutes, 3-0 after 20 minutes. But you look at the goals in isolation. You know, John Stones has put one in from 20 yards with his left foot into the top corner. There's a handball. I'm not sure where he's meant to put his hand there when he's looking to block across. And all of a sudden you're 2-0 down, and then we miss a 50-50 in the middle of the pitch. And a lad who scored 50-odd goals, or whatever he's going to score this season, gets through and scores. So, yes, you're fearful. But I thought the lads certainly showed a lot of character in that second half.
Did you start the game very deep, and then it's difficult to change that once you're already behind?
No. Did we start? Yes, we did start very deep. You know, we started deep at home against them as well and restricted them to very few chances at all. I've seen teams come and have a go at Man City here. Big clubs and get beat 3-0 like Bayern Munich did, 4-1 Liverpool. Burnley came in the FA Cup 6-0. So it's a real tough place to come, and what we needed to do was stay in the game. And that's what our mindset was, make sure we stay in the game. But unfortunately, as I said, them isolated instances which led to goals.
And at that point as well, you think we really can't afford to ship a hatful here, not just because of goal difference, but it could be hugely damaging psychologically.
Yeah, without a shadow, I thought our centre-halves were aggressive in the second half, more aggressive, especially our outside centre-backs. I thought they put a lot more pressure on their 10s when they came inside. And I think our actual goal comes from Wout making a run and winning a corner, and we get the second phase from that. H wins the first header and Kel puts it in. So, yeah, there's lots we can take from it. Obviously disappointed, but a 2-0 deficit, one of the best teams in the world, isn't the end of the world.
Is part of you thinking, if only, you had other chances as well, hit the post, James Maddison threw on goal as well? Yeah,
it would have been very interesting if we would put one of them away at 3-2, but it wasn't to be. But as I just said to the players in there, they showed enough character for me to know that our season wasn't going to be defined here. We've got a run of games now where we have to go and win matches.
In that run of games, Wolves, Leeds and Everton to come.
Massive, and I think even before the game we knew it was about consolidating into Manchester City, but it's about those next 3 fixtures, giving him a platform, some positives that he can go in and say, look, we did this well, we did that well, but it's all about those 3 games there. They have to win them. They're in a really sticky situation. That's why they've brought him in. But his experience of keeping Aston Villa up previously, this is where they'll go to his experience now to guide them out of this situation. But like you said, there were some positives definitely from the second half. They've got some good players. They've just got I mean, the last few weeks were probably the lowest I've ever seen from them. They're lethargic, and that's linked to confidence. And he's just got to galvanise them now for these next 3 games.
Yeah, and obviously taking today, understandably, out of the equation, they still haven't kept a clean sheet since the World Cup finals. The only team with that situation.
And that's where the problem is for them. That's why they are where they are. I think as a midfielder or an attacking player, you need your defence to keep goals out. So when you do get those chances in the opposite end, you're more calm. You don't feel panicked. You're not rushing. You don't think, oh, if I don't score this, then we're going to lose because we're going to concede a goal. So I think clean sheets, as much as it's good for the defender and the goalkeeper, I think it helps in attacking players and midfielders as well a lot.
Stadium. I'm Derek Ray, and joining me in the commentary position is the former England defender Lee Dixon. And looking forward to bringing you action from the Premier League coming right up. It is Manchester City facing Leicester City.
Yeah, thanks, Derek. I always get a buzz from being here. The players will feel the same, I'm sure. Fast start, always a good idea to impose yourself on the game straight from the off.
Using all his defensive acumen to cut it out. And here's the Manchester City lineup. Ederson stands between the posts. Kevin De Bruyne plays with Rodri in central midfield. And the responsibility of leading the line goes to Gabriel Jesus. Tielemans. Ricardo Pereira. The high press was on, and the chance is on. Well, when all was said and done, he's failed to hit the target. Well, here's how Leicester City will line up. Kasper Schmeichel stands between the posts. Yuri Tielemans plays alongside Wilfred Ndidi in the centre of midfield. And the story in attack is one of a strike partnership. James Maddison. Running with the ball confidently. Well, he stopped them just when they looked menacing. Offside, close one. Well, he's given it away. De Bruyne. Beautifully weighted ball. And he's found a bit of daylight. And a goal! They start as they mean to continue. They make the opening statement.
Well, you tell youngsters in that position just to hit the target. You can't score unless you do. And on this occasion he does, and he scores.
Well, let's have another view of that goal. One 0 then. Tielemans. They've given it away. No, not the best challenge. Chance here. And not cleared.